I suppose I first read Roald Dahl like many of us, sort of had it, in bed as a little kid. And I think that experience, it's so close to many of us. And then I actually fell in love with his daughter, to be honest, to tell you the truth. So I did kind of hang out at his house a bit. Gypsy Cottage it was called, and that's where he lived and wrote many of his books. So I did know him a bit, which has been, so I didn't imagine when I was 15 or 16 and had lost my heart for the first time to, I think that was Sophie Dahl's mum, actually. Ages me a bit. And so, I kind of knew the family a little bit, which is purely coincidental. And then, was involved of reading the kids, reading the stories of the kids, enjoying some of the shows and films. And then, of course, when this job came up, diving back into that, considerable, canon of literature and absolutely loving it again. And just, it's magic. It's magic, and that's what we hope to do with the city, make it magic. It's fantastic material. It's because it's full of surprise. It's got a little bit of darkness and mischief about it. It's very funny, but it's also quite moving. Like it's surprise. You're with this crazy story about a peach, and you're sailing across the thing, and you're landing in New York and getting spiked on the Empire State Building, and then suddenly there's that sense of, oh my God, they're gonna welcome us in. They're not going to be, they're not going to turn us away, and it suddenly becomes quite emotional, and that's really typical of the stories and something I really like. So it's been really inspiring to look at this beautiful city and with all the magical places it has, and then think of how we can kind of play with them. I hope they feel like they've seen something like they've never seen before. I hope that they are amused and touched and moved and surprised. And I hope, I suppose, when we're very privileged to do these events, we have to shut the streets and, just like we do for sporting events, for arts events, but even so, and we need, it's hard times in terms of funding money to do events like this and all of that. So, I always think, well, finally, how could we make something that in 40 years' time, when somebody's looking back on their life, 50 years, and they think, well, what are those moments that I sort of remember that really are in sort of technicolor in my imagination? And I'd hope that the weekend of the 17th and 18th September might have a few moments, that won't, when you think through how many Saturdays you've lived, that Saturday, might remain in your heart and your imagination a little bit. It's an aspiration.